If homework is a nightly battle at your house, you're not alone. Most families today are juggling long days, tired kids, and new ways of learning that doesn't always make sense at home. If you ever felt overwhelmed, frustrated, or just plain exhausted by homework time, this episode is for you. Welcome to Raising Scholars. I'm Jacquie Langworthy, education leader, center owner, and a mom who raised two confident, independent learners. I've lived these struggles as a single mom and as an educator, and I know firsthand homework isn't what it used to be. By the end of this episode, you'll understand why homework time feels so hard, and you'll have practical, pressure-free strategies to bring more calm and confidence into your home using the Raise Scholar framework. Let's get real. Most families aren't coming home at 3:30 and sitting at the kitchen table. Aftercare, long work days, late pickups. By the time everyone's home, you're tired, your child's tired, and homework is just one more thing. The reality? Homework is often incomplete, rushed, or confusing. And it's not your fault. The struggle isn't just about the work. It's the context. The days are long, energy is low, and expectations don't always match reality. Why homework looks so different now? Well, the curriculum has changed. Maybe you look at your child's math and think, this isn't how I learned it. You're not alone. New methods like Common Core means you and your child might not even be speaking the same language when it comes to homework. This confusion can turn a simple assignment into a power struggle. Parent versus child, or even parent versus teacher. And that's not because you're doing anything wrong. It's because the system has shifted, but the support hasn't always kept up. I lived this. As a single mom, I was committed to education, but also working late in my center. I was helping other children thrive in the classroom while my kids were in the back office trying to figure it out on their own. By the time we got home, we were all running on empty. Sometimes I'd just give in. Not because I didn't care, but because I had nothing left. And when projects came up, I'd find myself doing more than my share, selling the idea, fixing the details just to get it done. I remember my son's 5th grade STEM fair project. He wanted to collect traffic data at an intersection where there had been a recent fatality, which had impacted a family at his school. The civil engineer in me thought it was a fantastic idea. But in the end, it was me out there collecting data and gluing photos on his poster board. So why does rescuing backfire? Here's the gentle truth. When we rescue too much, our kids build dependence, not confidence. That's why the A in the Raise Scholar framework stands for autonomy over assistance. It's about giving our kids the space and support to try things on their own, even when it's hard to watch them struggle a little. It's so tempting to jump in and help, especially when we're tired or just want to get things done. But every time we step in and do it for them, whether it's finishing a project, correcting their homework, or organizing their backpack, we're sending the message that they can't handle it without us. True autonomy means letting our kids experience small failures and frustrations so that they build the skills and confidence to solve problems independently. It's much easier to teach an 8-year-old to work through a challenge than it is to teach an 18-year-old who's about to leave home and hasn't had those opportunities. So the next time you feel the urge to rescue, pause and remember, giving a little less help now is actually giving your child so much more in the long run. Confidence, resilience, and the belief that they can figure things out for themselves. So let's talk about the I in the Raise Scholar framework. It stands for instruction versus practice. This pillar is about understanding the difference between teaching and practicing. The classroom is where instruction happens. That's where new concepts are introduced, explained, and modeled by the teacher. Home, on the other hand, is for practice. Home is meant to reinforce what's already been taught, not to introduce brand new skills. So if your child is struggling with homework, it's not a sign they're lazy or not trying hard enough. More often, it means there's a gap in understanding from the classroom. Maybe they missed a step, or maybe the lesson didn't just quite click. As parents, our job isn't to become the teacher or reteach the entire lesson at home. Instead, focus on helping your child build the habit of asking questions and seeking help at school. Encourage them to jot down what's confusing so they can ask their teacher the next day. That's real independence. It teaches your child to advocate for themselves, to recognize when they need help, and to see mistakes as a normal part of learning. When you shift your mindset from have to teach this to I'm here to support practice, you take the pressure off both you and your child and make homework time a lot less stressful. Here are some practical strategies for creating calm and consistency in your household. This falls under the S in the Raise Scholar framework. Systems beat willpower. The truth is, willpower comes and goes, but a good system keeps everyone moving forward, even when you're tired, distracted, or busy. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You don't have to debate your child every night about whether or not to do it. It's just what you do. The same can be true for learning, if you have the right systems in place. Here's some easy strategies you can use. First, start small. Set a timer for 15 to 20 minutes and call it study time, not just homework time. Anchor routines. Attach study time to an existing habit, after dinner, before bed, or while you prep for lunches. Encourage explanation. Have your child read answers aloud or explain their thinking. No correcting, just listen. Normalize mistakes. Remind your child and yourself, mistakes are how we learn. No shame, just growth. Communicate with teachers. If homework is consistently a struggle, reach out and ask what's expected and where your child might be getting stuck and how you can support. Prioritize independence over perfection. It's better for your own child to do their own work, even if it's not perfect, than for you to step in and fix it. Let's talk a little more about communicating with teachers, because this can be a game changer. I'm constantly encouraging parents to reach out when homework becomes a struggle, especially when you get that pushback. That's not how my teacher taught it. I can remember countless times where I was in a homework standoff with my children hearing, but that's not what my teacher said. And I'd be honest, there were moments when I think to myself, as a whole engineer, you're trying to tell me I don't know how to do subtraction? I genuinely wanted to help, but I realized my explanations were only making things more confusing and everyone ended up frustrated. So the best thing I did was reach out to the teacher for clarity. I explained the situation, and since I spent a lot of time at the school anyway, she invited me to come into the classroom and observe. I got to see firsthand how she was teaching regrouping the Common Core way. Now, to be honest, I still believe my method is better, but seeing how the teacher taught it helped me support my kids at home with so much less frustration. And it made it easier for me to explain it to the parents who came into my center. Not everyone will have the chance to go into a classroom, but you can always ask for a quick call or request an example of how the concept was taught. If you're a parent who wants to provide that extra support, and sometimes it is really needed, don't be afraid to reach out to the teacher and ask how they're teaching it. When you're on the same page, it lowers everyone's stress and ends those "that's not how my teacher taught it" debates. It turns the teacher into a partner, not an adversary, and helps your child see that everyone is working together to help them succeed. Here's a gentle reminder. If you're feeling behind, you're not. Paying attention is the first step towards change. Raising scholars isn't about perfection. It's about preparing your child to stand on their own. Every small shift you make matters. So here's one practical tip. Tonight, try this. After dinner, invite your child to spend 10 to 15 minutes explaining their homework or just reading their answers aloud to you. Just listen, no correcting. Ask, how did you get that answer? This builds confidence, reveals gaps, and turns homework into connection, not conflict. Homework is practice, not a test of parenting. When you focus on independence, consistency, and calm, you create a space for real growth. If this episode helped you, subscribe and share it with another parent who might need a little encouragement tonight. Thank you for listening to Raising Scholars. See you next time.